Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we just got Arcana Force support. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's check out these new cards. So we are going to be getting these Arcana Force cards in Supreme Darkness, so let's go ahead and check out and see what they actually do. So for the first card, we have the Homorphin, and this card actually looks really cool. I always love the Arcana Force cards. They look super cool. So let's go ahead and see what this card actually does. And just a cool thing for you guys, this actually has 1500 attack and 1500 defense, and it's the 5th Arcana in the tarot card deck. If you guys did not know, they're actually based on tarot cards, which is really cool. And if you didn't know this, they also boost their attack points by 1,000 plus their Arcana number represented in the deck. So this card is number 5, so it has 1500 attack points with that 1,000 point boost, with it being the 5th Arcana, which is actually just a really cool lore aspect of this deck. So this card is a level 4 light fairy effect monster, and it has the first effect that you can discard this card, and for the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when an Arcana Force monster is summoned to your field, giving you some protection for your Arcana Force monsters, which is actually really cool to guarantee that you're at least going to get to the coin toss, which is really cool because all of the Arcana Force monsters actually have a coin toss effect, which is super cool. Usually, if you get heads, you get a good effect. If you get tails, you get a bad effect. So let's see if that continues with these cards. So for the heads effect, you special summon a level 4 lower Arcana Force monster from your deck with a different name from monsters that you control and in your graveyard, which is a pretty cool effect to instantly get you another Arcana Force monster on your side of the field so you can tribute summon or be able to tribute it for the world, which is really awesome. For the Tails effect, you get to special summon an Arcana Force monster from your deck to your opponent's field. Yep, they're keeping it. The bad effect is the Tails effect. You don't want to flip a Tails when you're playing Arcana Force because you'll have to give your opponent a monster from your deck to their side of the field, which could technically play into our favor because it would play around Imperm and it would play around cards like Evenly Matched, so it might not be the worst thing in the world, but it's still not that great for that second effect. But the first effect is really good to basically be like an E-Telly to instantly get you an Arcana Force monster directly from your deck to your side of the field, and this card being a hand trap that you can just discard it to give you protection is really cool as well. So for the next monster, we do have Arcana Force the Sun, and this card is a level 7 light fairy monster with 2900 attack and 2900 defense points. And let's see what this card actually looks like. Oh, that card looks awesome. I love that artwork. That card looks so cool. That's going to be awesome in Arcana Force. Let's please be good. This card looks so cool. Okay, this card literally looks fire. I know, the sun, but let's see what it does. Okay, so this card's first effect, you can only use the first effect this card's name once per turn. If this card, or if a card that has a coin tossing effect is on the field, special summon this card from your hand. This card is an instantaneously 3-up. It's a boss monster because it has 2900 attack points, and Arcana Force is really lacking that they don't have that many extenders because they're all pretty much normal summon and tribute summons, and it's really cool to finally see an extender as a big boss monster. This card is really good. This card's a 3-of already. Hopefully the coin toss effect is just as good. So for the second effect, for the coin toss effect, if this card is summoned, you not just tribute summoned, if you special summon it, you toss a coin. Heads, set a spell that has a coin tossing effect from your deck to your side of the field. Tails, destroy all cards in the spell and trap card zone. Okay, so that's pretty cool to be able to just instantly destroy all the spell. It's either like Heavy Storm or it's a Rhoda for your spells and traps. That's really good, or your spell cards that have coin tossing effects. That's pretty good to basically just use that because currently Arcana Force doesn't have that many good traps, and so this card is actually pretty good to get you a card on your side of the field. But that extending effect is the main thing that we want on this card to instantly get it on our side of the field. But being able to destroy all the back row is really good, so you don't even mind the Tails effects on this card. This card's actually insane. This card is really good and definitely a 3-of in Arcana Force. So for the next card, we do have a new fusion monster, and this card looks like straight out of like the manga or the anime. It looks so cool, and I love that they keep with like the fusion aspect, as it would have been really difficult to turn this into a synchro based archetype because they all have different levels. It would have been really difficult, almost impossible to make it an XZ archetype, and they didn't go with it being a Link archetype, which is really cool. I love that they actually went with the fusion archetype or fusion typing for this deck as well, which is super cool. So let's see what this card actually does, and it's awesome to finally see an extra deck monster for Arcana Force. So let's see what it does. So this card is called Arcana Force EX, the Chaos Ruler, which is kind of like a fusion between the Light Ruler and the Dark Ruler. But this card actually requires 3 Arcana Force monsters with different names to make this card, which is pretty easy. And it actually has 3300 attack and 3300 defense, and it is a level 10 Fairy Fusion Effect monster. This card must be special summoned by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. Okay, so that actually makes the first card where even if you give a card to your opponent, pretty good. So you can like normal summon this, get the Tails effect, throw a card on the field, special summon out the Sun, destroy the back row, and then get rid of all 3 that are on the fields, and then go in for this. So regardless, you want to be able to open, like, wow, these two, just the Sun and the Homorphin, are just instantly like auto going into the fusion monster regardless, as long as they don't get negated. That's really good. Okay, so what does this card actually do for its coin toss effect? If this card is special summon, toss a coin. If it's heads, special summon a level 10 Arcana Force monster from the hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. That's a pretty cool effect because you can actually summon out the Light Ruler or the Dark Ruler with that effect because they're both level 10s, and that's instantly a 4000 attack point boss monster on your side of the field with 2 pretty broken effects on that card for either or for those options. That's really good, and it just ignores the summoning conditions. You can just throw Light Ruler and Dark Ruler on the field. That's really good. Okay, for the Tails effect, you get to add 1 card that has a coin tossing effect from your deck to your hand. So regardless, this card is good. Like, even if you get the Tails effect, this card is insane. So regardless of the effect, it's really, really good. Also, for the second effect, your opponent cannot activate monster effects on the field while Light Barrier is on the field. Whoa, that's skill drain. Whoa, that's skill drain. And you get to like get to Light Barrier super easy because of the Fiend. Like, that's really, really good. Okay, so you just instantly make it so that your opponent can't do anything on the field. Like, you just completely, that's like Dark Ruler No More. Like constant Dark Ruler No More skill drain on the field. That is really good to instantly just summon on a 3300 body. That is so cool that it just lets you throw a 4000 monster on the field. And if you have the field spell, which you want the field spell so you can pick the coin toss effect that you get, you just instantly basically lock down your opponent, so you're going to OTK. So as soon as it touches the field with Light Barrier, it's pretty much GG. That's really cool. Okay, so for the next card, we do have, oh, that card looks so good. Okay, so for those who don't know, this card is actually called Arcana Force the Fiend, which in the tarot deck is actually the devil. So you actually see in the background the actual like silhouette of a fiend-like monster, if you know what I mean. So this is actually an amazing looking card. I love the reference on this card. It just looks so cool. Okay, this card, that is probably one of my favorite artworks in the game now. That looks so cool. Okay, please be good. Okay, the Wave of Light. That is really a good name. That is a great name. Okay, so what does this card actually do? You can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. And for those who have not watched Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, that was something that was really interesting, that the Light of Destruction was actually Sartorius's like thing that was like controlling him in the anime. And so this is actually really interesting that they made a card called the Wave of Light. Okay, so what does this card actually do? For the first effect, during your standby phase, if you do not have Light Barrier in your field spell zone, toss a coin. And if the result is Tails, this card's second and third effect are negated until your next standby phase. So you have to have Light Barrier on your side of the field. So Light Barrier is the entire deck. You want to have Light Barrier on your side of the field instantaneously for this card. So for the second effect, Fairy monsters you control gain 300 attack. Mid effect. Okay. For the next one, you can discard 1 card, add 2 Arcana Force monsters with different names from each other from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except Arcana Force monsters. That's a pretty good effect to instantly get a double search for your Arcana Force monsters with different names. That's actually really insane because you can instantly get the exact 2 that you need. Like you can activate this and then grab the Sun and the Homorphin, and then summon out the Homorphin, and then summon out the Sun, use the Homorphin's coin toss effect, summon an Arcana Force to your opponent's side of the field, go in for this, and then instantly bring out, if you get the heads effect, you can instantly bring out Light Ruler or Dark Ruler and get you 2 big bodies on your side of the field. That's really good. It does lock you into Arcana Force, but that's fine. And then it also gives them each 300 extra attack points. So you're going to be like shy, like 100 points to OTK your opponent, if my math is correct, because you're going to go up by 43 and then 36 Yeah, so you're going to be short just a little bit on the damage with just those 2 monsters to OTK, but that's still pretty good. That's still pretty good. I love that second effect that it just instantly grabs the exact 2 Arcana Forces that you need directly from your deck to your hand, almost being like a melody of Awakening Dragons for a continuous spell, which is just really cool. And plus, every turn you're going to get to add those Arcana Force monsters, which is really nice. That's actually really good. Okay, so let's see what this card actually, the next one does. This card is called Arcana Force Spread, and this card is a normal spell card. Let's see the actual artwork. That's actually the Emperor on it, I believe. And the effect is normal spell card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn, and only once that turn. For the first effect, toss a coin and apply this effect. If Lightbearer is in your field zone, you get to choose the effect instead. For the heads, you get to special summon a level 4 or lower Arcana Force monster from your deck, instantly getting an E-Telly. Okay, I was waiting on something like that. I was hoping that the deck would get something like that we get a free E-Telly for the deck. Because the deck really needs like a Rhoda or an E-Telly or a Counter Trap or something. And so this getting a Rhoda is just really good. Okay, or not a Rhoda, that's an E-Telly. That's even better. Okay, so for the tails, you special summon 1 monster from your graveyard that has a coin tossing effect. So it's a Monster Reborn. Are you kidding me? It's a Monster Reborn or it's an E-Telly. It doesn't even matter. Like, that's really good. Regardless of what effect you get, this card is instantaneously a 3 of. Okay, for the second effect, you can manage this card in the graveyard, add 1 card from your grave to your hand that has a coin tossing effect. That is really good that you can just recover a card, and it also has the ability that it's a Monster Reborn, or it's an E-Telly directly summoning one of your monsters from your deck. And I think that's actually all the different support that we got. And we do have the Summon Chant as well for the new boss monster, which is your destiny is being sent to the world hereafter. The Apostle of Destruction and Demise. I summon Arcana Force EX, the Chaos Ruler. That's really cool. And I believe on the live stream, they actually had the voice actor for Sartorius, the Japanese voice actor for Sartorius, that was actually dueling against the Supreme King, because we're getting Supreme King and Sartorius support in this actual pack, which is super cool. And if you guys didn't know, this is actually the same voice actor that voices Dio Brando from JoJo. So when he goes the world, it's actually the same thing, which is really cool when he uses his stand, which is just super cool for those who've seen JoJo as well. But this is actually really interesting support as well, and I really like it overall. This isn't really what Arcana Force needed. They need some more broken cards, because it's really like already not great support for Arcana Force, but this is good support. Like, they don't have that many good cards to start with, but this is really good like to work with, because you can use this to instantly get you a monster on the field. And I really love the effect of this, that you don't even have to use polymerization. You just have to use Arcana Force monsters on either player's field. So the mirror matches, if you get into a mirror match with Arcana Force, this card's gonna be wild. This card is gonna be wild. Just instantly being able to, like, I'm going to go into mine during my turn. Well, I'm going to take yours and go into I'm going to go into my own on my turn. And then, okay, well, you didn't OTK me, so I'm going to go into mine on my turn. Like, the mirror matches are going to be wild with this deck because of this card. Just instantly being able to use your opponent's cards to step into this. This is crazy. Okay, we do have some more support I want to talk about in this video really quick for you guys as well. We do have some Halloween themed cards as well. We have these really quickly for you guys as well. This is actually a new Halloween archetype, which is only 3 cards, which is really interesting, but these cards are really cool. But they're overall really cool, but it's actually like Trick or Treat. This card is actually a Rhoda for them. And let's go over these cards really quickly. So we have Hollow, the Great Spirit of Tricks. And this card is a level 4 Dark Fiend effect monster with 0 attack and 0 defense. And you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. For the first effect, if this card is normal or special summon, you can make your opponent choose one of these effects and apply it, but you must control this face-up card to activate and resolve it. Of course, you have to control it. Okay, so for the first effect, your opponent gets to pick one of these 2 effects. Either this card gains 800 attack for each fiend in the grave, or inflicts 500 points of damage to your opponent for each fiend in your graveyard, which is really interesting that you can do either burn damage, or this card can get massive. And with cards like Grass, it's going to be very easy to dump a bunch of stuff in the graveyard, so you're either getting a really big boss monster to OTK, or you're going to be able to use this to inflict a lot of burn damage to your opponent. So your opponent does get to pick. For the second effect, if this card is destroyed by battle by card effect, you can send a monster from your opponent controls to the graveyard, which is a pretty interesting effect that it just does send it, doesn't even target. For the other one, we do have Win, the Great Spirit of Treats, which is actually really cool. So we have Hollow And we have Ween. Okay, so it's Halloween. That's really cool. I like that. And the Great Spirit of Treat. Okay, so we have, it's a level 4 light zombie effect monster. And I believe this actually does copy and paste the exact same effect, that if this card is normally special summoned, you can make your opponent choose one of these effects and apply this effect, but you must control this card to resolve the effect. That this card gains 800 attack for each zombie in your grave, or you inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent for each zombie monster in your graveyard. And for the second effect, if this card is destroyed by a battle or by card effect, you can special summon a monster from your opponent's graveyard to your field, which is really cool that we get a treat that your opponent has to hand you like it's trick-or-treating, which is actually really cool. I like that. That's really cool. I love the artwork of these cards. They're really neat. They give me like Live Twin, Evil Twin vibes, which is really cool. And then this card is basically a Rhoda for them both. I love this artwork. I really wish they do more artwork like this and just have like really cool little tech pack filler cards like this that are actually kind of neat, that you could tech into like zombies, or you could tech them into like a fiend deck or like grass decks, which is really cool. But this card is basically just a Rhoda that you can either add Hollow or Ween from your deck or graveyard to your hand, meaning you really only have to play them at 1 each plus like 3 of this for a different deck, which is kind of neat. But overall, really cool cards. I really like these overall. I love the artwork of them. They're just really cool. But again, they really look like Live Twin cards. Like they absolutely look like Live Twin cards, but it's really, really cool. So that's going to do for this one, guys. Overall, amazing Arcana Force support. These cards are really, really good. I love the Sun. The Sun looks amazing, and I really think these cards are going to like make the deck actually really good and playable. So that's going to do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.